What an absolute masterpiece. Oh my god. When I first saw it, I couldn't oh my god. You should have seen me after I first saw it. This is another level. And I'm a huge fan of SB19, and ever since, even through my very first reaction of SB19, one of the things that I always say is that they elevate Philippine music and they elevate Philippine art. And I just feel so happy that they're finding collaborators who seems to be in the same wavelength as they are. And this time it's Sarah Geronimo. So it's they should there's so much in there. This story is actually so packed. So one of the things that came into my head when I first s- watched the music video and then eventually listened to the track is that is not very pop. That's for sure. This is not the kind of music that you would want to offer to the general public, something that will make them feel light and whatever. From the get go, there's this very heavy percussion that's making you feel heavy as well as a listener. And then when you watch the music video, it's so dark so that it reinforces that weight that you kind of feel. And then one thing about this entire project is that for the first time, I am finding it very hard to separate the music video from the actual music. I think when they created it, they intended it to be one piece of art because that's what it feels like to me. The only way I can maximize and really enjoy and fully understand the narrative of the song and the music video is if they are actually together. Okay, so the other thing is that the oh my gosh, this is a display of vocal abilities. Each of them, all of them, every member of SB19 and of course Sarah G are talented vocally, and they were able to maximize that. They were able to belt, but they belted in the right moments. They didn't push it. There's a lot of push and pull in the music video. When one is going high, the other one's going low. When one is going fast, the other is going slow. And there's a lot of quick transitions in that. And I can't wait until I see them or hear them actually perform this live together. And then, as I was saying in the beginning, I think there is so much packed in this story, from the characters to the story itself to the things that were left hanging, things that were not answered. I feel like this is a material for a limited series. Netflix, if you're listening, please do that. Okay, now let's go to some of the details that I want to discuss. First is the meaning of the song. For sure, there are two layers. I think everyone will actually agree with me on this one. There's the literal meaning, and then there is the metaphorical meaning to all of this. Okay, so first, the literal meaning. It's kind of like a crime thriller, right? Because as I've said, in the music video, there is this it feels like there's always this element that's coming towards them, that the choice to do the spotlight, the majority of the time everything is dark, and then there's just this one very very weak spotlight. If you observe the entire music video, it feels like the light is coming towards the characters, or it's the character that's coming towards the light. So there's this feeling of something's gonna get ya, something like that. Something's like there's a threat, and you have to get away from it, something like that. um Also, because of the darkness, you can't really see much of the milieu of the environment. It feels like they're actually trapped in a very very dark environment. And even the mama mahok and the siren and all of that, it feels kind of like it is a trance, like they're being manipulated or being something, like they're being manipulated to stay in this location. So that's one layer to it. It feels like a crime thriller of sort. But then of course there's also the metaphorical meaning of it, which I was talking about earlier. And I think at its core it's about haters, about crab mentality, people that are just really waiting for an opportunity to take you down. They're not even waiting for a chance for you to make a mistake. They're just waiting for any situation which they can twist, which they can put out of context in order to put you down. And if you listen to the lyrics, like that line about whispers in the night, that feels like, someone's about to backstab you. And then there that line about fake news, they shake views and make you fools. Those are about people that can twist stories and reconceptualize what you actually said and present it to be something malicious or something harmful. And then even that part, something like, I remember it in English, but something like, once they whisper to you, they know how to reach, like they know how to scratch that itch inside of you, something like that. And those are about people that are latching onto you, not because they like you or they want to hang around you or something like that, but just because they're waiting for an opportunity to take you down. So this is the classic crab mentality, classic hater mentality, which is very common in the Philippines. When someone climbs too high, our tendency is to try and pull them down instead of helping them go up even higher. There's also that very, very internal battle that I think is overlooked by a lot of people. um, when you absorb enough of the toxicity, if you allow yourself to be in the same environment or the same room as toxic people, if you allow yourself to continuously hear about the negativity and the negative things, at some point, you're going to make it a part of you. At some point, the things that you hear from other people, you're going to think that you are, that is your inner voice. So the only, it's sort of a cautionary tale of some sort. um Let them, something like a warning that if you let these people come close to you, then they won't just hurt you, they are going to turn you into them, right? Because you're allowing their voice to become your inner voice. Now, so there definitely is, I think no one's going to debate me on that. There definitely is a dual message in this one, that if you allow bad energy to continuously be around you, then but the tricky thing about it all is that sometimes it's so hard to spot the negativity, the toxicity, because not all evil actually come in a villain's cape, or they're not coming in with a witch hat. Sometimes they come in with sweet voices and beautiful faces and a really warm hug. So it is still, at the end of the day, up to you to determine whether the people that are around you is toxic, and up to you to determine how you can actually walk away from it all. Okay, next thing that I want to discuss is the actual ending. So the question is, who actually won? And I have two theories in that. So let's do remember that at the end of the scene, what we have is one dead body and six other people who are alive, one girl and the other are boys. So the visuals are stylish enough for it to be ambiguous. So we don't really quite know what happened. The shots are very tight. And as you can see on your screen right now, it's just so dark. It's hard to determine what actually happened. So, one theory is that one possibility is that, yes, the antagonist actually won, or not. Not so. Maybe not. So, if you actually think about it, that man that died, the antagonist, they actually represent the haters, the manipulators. And at the end, yeah, he's dead. But did he actually lost? Because you do remember that in the beginning of the scene, they all ended up in jail. So they are all being accused of a crime. Now, that only means that their freedom is actually threatened. Now, it may not necessarily, sure, they may get away with it, but it doesn't free them of the possibility of being jailed by their own conscience. Can they really live with the fact that they murdered somebody and that they all denied, or at least they manipulated the situation so that they don't get punished for it? So yeah, they survived. The antagonist is dead, but are they really free? Okay, so that's a major question. The other theory that I have is that they do actually got away with it, and they are not innocent. Because if you look at everything, you will, if you rewatch the video, one thing that is is glaring, um, is that everyone is actually admitting to the crime, and their stories don't match because they're providing different motives, right? He was saying like, this is what he did to me, and so I had to do this and that. So there doesn't seem to be like one motive, so it doesn't mesh. The story doesn't seem to be solid enough. um and then because they're all admitting to it, if everyone is guilty, then no one is guilty. And as I've said, at the end, when they were attacking him, there were only there were seven of them, including the victim. No one else was around. So no one can refute the story that they were saying. So there is a huge possibility that they actually planned this all. That Stell intentionally left the guitar out there, that Ken allowed him to cheat, and um that Justin allowed himself to be bullied because they've had enough. They're done and they just want to get rid of him. So there is that possibility that they aren't really innocent victims. They actually planned the entire thing. So I guess the deeper message is that, when you're constantly bullied and when you're constantly harassed, how far are you willing to go in order to fight for yourself? And what price are you willing to pay in order to avenge yourself? Okay. Next, I want to talk about the cinematography of this entire thing. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I call it the spotlight of perception. One of the things that you will notice in the film is that I call it a film, but in the video, in the entirety of the video, everything is bathed in darkness, and there's just always this one spot that is illuminated by a very, very weak spotlight. So most of the time you can only see like fragments of what's happening, not actually the entirety of the scene, just a person's face, or or a portion of the person's face, or like Josh, or maybe their hand, or sometimes it's even like this one, it's on the side, the center is so dark you can't really see. um so it isn't exactly, if you think about it, this is exactly how we perceive people in real life. We sort of are shown what they feel they need to show us. It's, if you look at celebrities and people on social media, what we see are just like their tweets, or their headlines, or highly curated posts, or a snippet of their meltdown or their triumph, but we don't see everything else. But because that is the only thing that we see, we base our judgment just on that very small spotlight in their epic life, right? So the truth is that the there is much more. If you really think about it, there's much more hidden in the spotlight, much more we don't see, and those are all lurking in the darkness. Um so 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 yeah, it feels like it is some sort of a metaphor on how we actually see people, or how we actually allow people to see us, because we actually see do that as well. We only allow people to see portions of our lives that we feel is safe, will be safe to see. So so if you tie it back to the story, I guess the question is like, so who moved first? We know that they were arguing and that he grabbed Sarah, but who threw the punch? And when the punch was thrown, who actually got hit? And was that it? Like, was there something else that they actually had in their hand? What was Who pushed him over the edge? So things like that. It's so hard, and that kind of mirrors how rumors work, how things about us get spread online, or even not online, just in general. We'd never see the full story, just bits and pieces of what's out there. So it's not just about it's not just about betrayal and gossip, I guess. It's also a commentary on perception. It's it should be a clarification on perception versus reality. That yes, a lot of the things that we see through that spotlight, they're real, but it's not complete. And for us to really understand people, we do need to see the entirety of the thing. Okay. And then there's another thing that I want to discuss is the nuanced characters. Okay. So the the one thing that we need to understand is that if you look back, you will realize that none of the characters were held hostage by the bad guy, by the villain. Everyone could have walked away anytime. They could have walked away. Ken could simply have swallowed his loss and left. Estelle, as I've said, could actually have just kept that guitar away from everyone else to make sure that it doesn't get damaged or whatever. Sarah already had her sister with her. She could have walked away. Even Lily had a lot of opportunities to walk away, but she didn't. They stayed, and that means they made a choice to participate in whatever happened next. They became a part of the darkness that they wanted to escape, because really, at the end of the day, what we do need to realize is that evil has no real power. It has no power by itself. It gets power when you give it power, but it does not have an innate power. So, just like in this story, the antagonist is, as I've mentioned, it is a symbol of he stands for the haters. Like the haters and the people that want to take you down, the gaslighters, manipulators, abusers. Um, no matter how bad he was in this entire thing, the truth is that he never he never held anybody hostage. He never tied them to a chair, and he didn't hold a gun to their head or threaten them. They could have left. They didn't. It was at the end of the day the choices of these characters to be there in the same vicinity with him. Um so that is what I think they largely ignore, that the power was always theirs. Uh, so if you look at it that way, one thing that we will realize is that this is actually not just a story of someone who bullied people and wanted to take people down. It's actually a story about how our own choices actually end up empowering the bullies, and how our own choices actually end up making ourselves victims rather than fighting through it. We we really empower the haters the moment that we believe in them. We strengthen toxicity when we engage with it. We give evil a seat at the table the moment that we refuse to walk away from it. No matter how difficult that may sound, it is the truth. At the end of the day, we can still walk away. I know there is this other side that will say, well, they shouldn't be bullying us, and that is true. No one has the right to bully us. No one has the right to gaslight us or to manipulate us. But it is not an ideal world, and two things can be true at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time. One is that they shouldn't be abusing us, they shouldn't be bullying us, but also we shouldn't allow ourselves to be in that situation. We can always walk away. So the question is, who really won, right? At the end of this great, fantastic music video, that made me think of all of these things, who really walked away, because they may take it they did take him down. That much is clear at the end of it, but did they actually win, or did they become exactly the kind of people he was accusing them of being, or the kind of people that they were trying to escape? Because, as I've said, at the end of the day, real power is theirs, but they decided to hand it to them. And also, I think the greatest twist of it all, as I've mentioned, is that they were never trapped in that house. That was perception. The darkness, this super tight shots, those are all perceptions. They were never hostages. They could have walked away anytime. They were free to walk away anytime. But they decided to stay. None of them actually left. And that is actually what makes them nuanced as people, not one dimensional victims. And they are also not pure hearted survivors. They are just real people, right? At the end of the day, that's what they are. They are complicated, they were hurt, they were flawed, and they're very, very much human. And that's what makes this music video and this song so powerful. I hope they turn this into something great and something big. Who do we need to talk to make that happen? Okay, that I think is all I have. This actually went on longer than I wanted to, but I there's just my I can't praise it enough. I really can't praise it enough. It's so great. All right, thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for listening to me. Um, if you please, if you can donate to the channel, we are expanding it. We are going to launch the online magazine very, very soon, most likely on the 15th or something like that, or maybe 17th or whatever. But we are very close to launching it, and the aim is to actually serve Asians, to provide, to highlight and increase the awareness of Asian art, Asian culture, Asian lifestyle, and of course, eventually to help many Asian artists gain access to a bigger market, Europe and North America. So please, if you can, donate to the channel. But also, please follow me on X and also on IG, but more importantly on Patreon. Lots of great conversations happening there. I am trying to expand the discussion so that it's not just about K-pop, it's not just about specific groups, but many Asian groups. Also, if you can, I do have YouTube memberships where I will be talking about more issues in a more, I guess, free way. I won't be holding back a lot because it's for my paid subscribers. And also, like the video, subscribe and hit that notification button. More importantly, please share the video because that's really going to help my channel. So please send it to your friends, send it to your family members, paste the link in your social media, wherever you can find, you can afford, you can actually paste the link, just paste the link. Thank you so much, and until next time.